in our practice, the puppies we check, 95% of the puppies that we see have a subluxation already. They have what we call an impairment of mobility in their neck that's interfering with communication from the brain to the cord, through the spinal cord and to the organs of the body. And what happens is that if we leave those go, the body, because it is a self-healing organism, will learn to compensate and will learn to work with that impingement in the nervous system, but it won't be the best puppy that it could be.
Welcome to the Pet Care Report podcast by Pet Summits. Here's your natural dog healthcare host, Alora Mckinley.
Well, welcome back to another episode of the Pet Care Report. My name's Alora and I'm here with Dr. O, and I'm so excited to have you on the episode today. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Yes, it's very exciting. Now, for those listeners that don't know about you, I'm just going to introduce you quickly. So you were originally aspiring to be a bovine exclusive vet, and you found your true calling in animal chiropractic after owning several animal practices. Realizing a deeper care for family health, he used his expertise in chiropractic to help both animals and his own family. And Dr. O has been instrumental in building and growing multiple animal chiropractic programs, finding innovative ways to educate fellow practitioners and assist more animals. Additionally, Dr. Bill Ormston is a well-known published author reflecting his dedication to share knowledge to the field. How's that? It's a lot.
Sounds good.
Good.
All right.
Good. Wow.
Basically, we get up in the morning and we work on animals and we write some stuff and talk to a few people, and that's what we do.
I love it. And making a real difference in people's lives. And I think this topic is going to affect every pet owner, whether they've got puppies or an older dog. It really applies to everybody. And we are talking about a chiropractic lifestyle and how we can be aware and implement strategies with our own dogs. So can you explain to our listeners a bit more about a chiropractic lifestyle?
Yeah, I can. So first off, a chiropractic lifestyle is just three things. Chiropractic care, which doesn't treat anything. And that's where a lot of people get confused there. Well, my dog's not lame. My dog isn't, having issues. He's not sore, so he doesn't need to go see the chiropractor. But everything with the spine needs to have their spine checked. There's three things that cause problems in the spine: thoughts, traumas, toxins. Okay. And we know that in our practice, the puppies we check, 95% of the puppies that we see have a subluxation already. They have what we call an impairment of mobility in their neck that's interfering with communication from the brain to the cord, through the spinal cord and to the organs of the body, which normally we worry about the feet, that's, the dog can't walk, needs to go see a chiropractor. We're talking about every organ in the body, okay? And what happens is that if we leave those go, the body, because it is a self-healing organism, will learn to compensate and will learn to work with that impingement in the nervous system, but it won't be the best puppy that it could be.
Yeah, I understand. So I assume if they're getting quite a bit of interference from this nervous system, how then can chiropractic care help resolve that?
What chiropractors do is go into their hands. They will remove the vertebral subluxation by a very specific adjustment or a little impulse into the bone that's not moving correctly. Realign that, remove that interference from the nervous system, and allow the body to communicate better. It's kind of like when you have, if you're talking to me here and we're doing this podcast And all of a sudden, one of us goes from 100% signal down to 30. And instead of us, instead of my hand moving across the screen smoothly, you would see.
Yeah.
Okay. And that's kind of what interference in the nervous system is. Most people have talked to somebody on the cell phone, and they've been, I need you to get me.
Yeah, but then it cuts out.
these 10 items. Okay. And I know there's only 6.
Yeah, I understand.
So we're going to do that. And that's important to the dog, because if they're not getting the right nervous system, then we get all kinds of stuff. We get then we start to get symptoms of the body not doing correctly, because diabetes is really just faulty feedback between the gut and the brain, and the pancreas. And what's happening is it's not all communicating right, and the brain doesn't know how much insulin to produce or when to produce insulin, and how, and so it messes everything up. And then we get a dog that's diabetic.
It's all connected, isn't it?
Yes.
I recall you mentioning that even a puppy that doesn't show signs or symptoms can have something lingering underneath. What do you think is a good routine to go see a chiropractor? Should it be a yearly thing? Or?
Well, it all depends. We like to start, and a lot of our breeders, in fact, just this last year, I had a lady bring a male and a female in. They were imported dogs, so, pretty nice dogs. And she was in heat, and he wasn't interested, and you're a dog breeder, and so what are you going to do, right? And so we adjusted him, and he got interested. Immediately in the office, and it was like, great. And but she was saying, nope, not having it. So I adjusted her. And then the lady was like, oh, okay, you think I'm going to get him home, and then we're going to see what happens, and let me pay you. And I said, well, we're going to sit here and talk for a while. And most of the litters of this particular breed are 4 to 5 puppies. Mm-hmm. And this particular litter was 9.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yep. From 2 dogs that were not interested 10 minutes before. And we ended up with 9 puppies.
Wow.
We adjusted them, and they're all doing great.
That's awesome.
But these dogs are also on a species-specific raw food diet.
Yes, and that I can imagine is so important. So what do you mean by species-specific?
Well, if you've got a cow, you're not going to feed them dog food. If cows eat hay, we're not going to feed our dogs hay. So we want to make sure, even a cat and a dog. I know in your job as a canine nutritionist, you probably have a few people call you and say, hey, what should I feed my cat? Mm-hmm. And it's close. It's close, but not the same.
Yep. I'm always getting, what should I feed my dog? And it's like, well, let me tell you.
Not what you eat, unless it's before you prepare it.
Yes. Yep. And it's so important. And I really think it affects the dog. Like if a dog's getting, high processed kibble all the time, they're really going to put on weight, which I'm sure is going to affect their bones and how they move.
It is, because kibble, Dr. Frick, who I know is a Pet Summit person, did a paper with kibble dog food, and I believe 94% of dogs on kibble dog food had low body calcium.
Yeah, right.
And calcium's not just bones, but calcium's like this super duper mineral that we need because it nerve conduction, muscle contraction, and bones, hair, nice,
Yep.
nice smooth hair, not that ouch. If you pet your dog and it hurts to pet your dog, could be vitamin and mineral problems in the diet.
Yep.
And so that's all part of a chiropractic lifestyle is that, yes, the brain controls every organ, every function, every activity in the brain. And including, and the one that's really gets me that I was like, whoa, it's been proven that the chiropractic adjustment alters white noise in the brain.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, and white noise in the brain is background information. Not background noise, but just processes that are going on back here all the time while we're talking. When's the last time you told your heart to beat?
Oh, I've got no idea.
Because it just goes on in the background, right? When's the last time you said breathe?
Mm-hmm. Just does it. It's amazing.
It does it. And your dog does it. And it all just happens. And if it's controlled, but if that feedback gets messed up, the feedback from the heart. Well, the heart says, I'm pumping this much blood. And the brain says, well, you need more. And so then the heart has to beat faster. But it's not supposed to be beating faster. It was supposed to be beating slower. And it all got confused. And now you got a heart problem.
Yeah. Yep. Going back to the species appropriate diet, we know that overweight dogs is a huge epidemic within dogs. A lot are. Exercise. What kind of exercise is going to be good for our dogs?
Well, it all depends on your dog, but the best exercise is, and most overall exercise for every muscle in the body is walking, not running, not playing ball. It's just a nice steady walk because it makes the dog use every muscle in their body. When they're running, dogs can bunny hop and use both legs together in the back end. And so they're really not using every muscle. When they, are playing tug or chasing a ball, maybe they're always turning to the right or always turning to the left. And so for most people, with their pet dogs, it's going to be just a good old walk.
Yeah, right. And is there particular exercises we can do with our dogs?
Oh, you bet. There's all kinds of them. Walking uphill is good. That makes them push. The hard part for a dog is if we have one leg that has had an issue and it's not the same size as the other one, is to try to get those dogs to work evenly, those legs. Like I'd tell you to go to the gym and do, 25 curls with this arm and 5 with this one. And eventually we'd be getting them together. But that's hard to do for a dog. So dogs react 2 ways when we put something on their foot. The one is easy to help rehab and strengthen that poor leg. The other one takes a little bit more work. Put a piece of duct tape on the pad of your dog. Put it on the good leg.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the easy dog to rehab will go, so this is the foot with the duct tape, right? You put that pad down and you go, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Now all the weight is on the weaker leg that needs to be stronger. So we let him hop around like this for 5-10 minutes a couple times a day. We took him to the weight room. And that's how easy it is.
It just seems so simple. I really like that.
Then, if he doesn't care, then we have to put it on the bad leg, and we maybe put, I don't know what your coin is, but I'd use a quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Put a quarter in there.
Yep.
So it depends on where you are. I don't know
just
what
small
coins
coin.
are equivalent, but yeah. Oh, not the tiniest coin you have, but a medium-sized coin. Put it on there, and that just adds a little weight to your dog.
Yeah. So exercises, like I know whenever I go down to the dog park, I see people playing fetch for an hour, and their dog is running back and forth. Is that any good for the dog's spine?
Well, yeah, it is, as long as it's in alignment. But if it's out of alignment, then a lot of times that's just getting it worse. Because if we don't have, I see a lot of dogs come in that are playing at the park, and they turned all of a sudden and have an injury. And they come in and they say, oh my gosh, it just happened. Well, the first thing we do is measure both legs. Okay. And there's two ways to make a leg get smaller. One is not use it, which obviously the dog was using it. He was just playing Frisbee. The other one is to have interference to the nerves going to that leg. So if you're not using it, it takes about 7 weeks to get a noticeable difference. If it's a nerve problem, it takes less than 7 days.
That is so fast.
Yes, it's huge. So when I see these dogs that just had this injury yesterday, and I measure these legs, and they're uneven already, it's been going on a while. And then, so that means that in order to get that leg better, even if it needs surgery, we have to do something to restore that nerve flow.
Just really shows the importance of pet parents just paying attention to their dogs and understanding them and picking up when something's wrong, doesn't it?
Right. And you can do it fairly easily. A lot of dogs will be, they'll come in, I'm talking to the pet parents, and I'll be watching the dog, and somebody makes a noise over on that side. And the dog looks, and then somebody makes a noise over on this side. Which side of my neck doesn't move right?
That's nice.
It's just watching your pet move, Does he do this and this, or this and that,
Yeah. So is there like preventative things we can do for our dogs? Because I know my dogs will jump up in the back of my car. Is that something I should be avoiding?
The jump up is probably good. And in fact, one of the things that we recommend with older dogs is a really simple thing you can do is elevate their front feet when they eat. Something you're going to do with your dog every day anyway. So put them, depending on the size of your dog, maybe 2 foot, maybe 4 foot. I have some German Shepherds that eat 2 foot, not 2 inches, but 2 foot off the ground with their front legs up there. Puts more weight on their back end because it utilizes gravity and helps strengthen some of these dogs that have.
That's really interesting. That's definitely something I'm going to go and try and implement with.
Jumping up is good. Be careful with the jumping down.
Right.
Dogs that jump for a living, about 2/3, a little over 2/3 of those dogs will have signs of whiplash because it's the same forces as we get in a car accident.
Wow, that's huge.
Yeah. So help your dog jump down. It's not jump up, but agility dogs, a lot of those dogs, if they're not getting adjusted, they will have whiplash symptoms. Dogs that jump out of cages every day will have issues.
Yeah. And I assume it's also pretty breed specific as well. There's some, like, you can't compare a bigger dog to a smaller dog because they're going to do things a little bit different. Would that be right?
Well, somewhat, but if they're doing the same activities, they, like Chihuahuas that run agility, they go over short jumps. And, Bourgeois that do agility, they go over big jumps. So I have some racing dachshunds that come in.
Really?
They don't run as fast as the Whippets, but they still run fast.
Interesting. So then for pet parents, if they're going to go away with one tip they can take away from our discussion, what would it be?
Pay attention to your dog and vary your exercise.
Okay.
So like cross training, for people, you don't just, it gets boring if you just run every day or if you just go to the weight room every day and so keep it interesting for your dog. So they're looking forward to their workout every day. And if you compete with your dog, great, but do some other things too. Keep your dog well fed with of course, I recommend a raw food diet and a complete raw food diet, not just, I feed raw hamburger.
Or my leftovers from my salad or.
Yeah. Or just, he eats a lot of vegetables because, that's what I was meaning by species specific. I don't believe that dogs are vegan. So we species specific, and then keep them exercising. And the best way to exercise your dog is to do something that the two of you can do together, so you can enjoy each other.
Absolutely.
Because that's why we have a dog.
Yep, that's great. That's really, really good. So our listeners, if they want to find out more about you, I know you've written a few books. Where can they find out some more info on you?
The best place is yeschiro.com. 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 You can find a book. If you're a professional, a veterinarian or a chiropractor, you can find out how to come to school. And if you're a pet owner, we can either make an appointment, we do telephone consults, or we can also help you find an animal chiropractor close to you.
That's awesome. We'll definitely put those notes in the show notes so people can find it pretty easy. Well, Dr. O, thank you so much for your time. That's been a super interesting discussion, and I'm sure there's lots that pet parents will be able to take away and implement in their own lives.
All right. Thank you. I enjoyed meeting you, and have a good night.
Thank you. Thank you. And for our listeners that are still here, they can follow along. You can like, you can subscribe, you can comment. If there's something you found interesting, please let us know. This helps us reach some more listeners. So thank you. We'll see you next episode.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.